Hey there! Today we're talking about one of the darkest and most infamous figures in modern history, Adolf Hitler. You've probably heard the name before, but maybe you don't know the full story. Who was he? How did he come to power? And how did one man lead the world into its deadliest war? This is the story of Adolf Hitler, his rise, his rule, and his fall. Let's start at the beginning. Adolf Hitler was born in 1889 in a small town in Austria. He wasn't anything special growing up. He dreamed of being an artist, but when he applied to art school, he was rejected. Twice. Ouch. So with no job, no real plan, and not much going on, he moved to Germany. Then, in 1914, World War I broke out. Hitler signed up to fight for Germany. He served as a messenger on the front lines. He got injured and even won some medals for bravery. But when the war ended in 1918, Germany had lost badly. The country was humiliated. Millions were dead. The economy was in ruins, and people were angry, confused, and looking for someone to blame. Hitler? He was angry too, and this is where things start to turn. After the war, Germany was a mess. There was a new government, but it was weak. People were poor. Inflation was crazy. Like, a loaf of bread cost a week's worth of work. People were desperate. And when people are desperate, they start listening to voices that promise change, even dangerous ones. In the early 1920s, Hitler joined a small political group called the German Workers' Party. He quickly became the face of it. He had one big skill: public speaking. He could fire up a crowd with anger and energy. He blamed the government. He blamed the Treaty of Versailles, the agreement that ended World War I. He especially blamed Jewish people, spreading hateful lies and dangerous conspiracy theories. The party changed its name to the Nazi Party, and in 1923 Hitler tried to take over the government in something called the Beer Hall Putsch. It failed. He was arrested. He went to jail. But in jail he wrote a book called Mein Kampf, or My Struggle. It laid out his extreme ideas about race, power, and German pride. When he got out of jail, he tried a new strategy. Instead of trying to take power by force, he'd do it through politics. By the early 1930s, things in Germany were still bad. Then the Great Depression hit. People lost everything, and Hitler? He promised to fix it all. He used fear, he used blame, and slowly the Nazi Party gained power. In 1933, Hitler was made Chancellor of Germany, basically the top government leader. Within months, he took full control. The Nazis banned other parties, they arrested opponents, and Hitler became a dictator. He turned Germany into a one-party state. Propaganda was everywhere. Kids joined Nazi youth groups. Books were burned. Free speech disappeared. And behind it all was a brutal plan to build a pure German empire and get rid of anyone who didn't fit that vision. In 1939, Hitler invaded Poland. That was the final straw. France and Britain declared war. World War II had begun. Over the next few years, Hitler's armies stormed across Europe, taking over country after country. He seemed unstoppable, but there was something even more horrific happening behind the scenes. Hitler's Nazi regime began the Holocaust, a systematic plan to kill millions of Jews, along with Roma people, disabled people, political enemies, and others. They were rounded up, forced into ghettos, put on trains, and sent to concentration camps. Over 6 million Jews were murdered. It was one of the most horrifying crimes in human history. Eventually, Hitler's luck ran out. He made some big mistakes, like trying to invade the Soviet Union in winter. Yeah, not smart. In 1944, Allied forces, like the US, Britain, and others, invaded from the west. The Soviets attacked from the east. Germany was surrounded. By 1945 it was over. Berlin, Germany's capital was in ruins. In a bunker under the city, knowing the war was lost, Hitler took his own life. A week later, Germany surrendered. World War II was finally over. After the war, the world had to face what happened. The Nazi leaders who survived were put on trial at the Nuremberg trials. Some were executed. Others were jailed for life. Germany was divided, cities were destroyed, and the world was left asking, how did we let this happen? Adolf Hitler's story is a warning. It shows how hate, fear, and lies can spread, especially when people are struggling. It shows how dangerous it is to give one person too much power, and it shows how important it is to stand up against injustice, even when it's hard. Today, we remember the victims. We teach the history, not to scare, but to make sure it never happens again. Because understanding the past helps us protect the future. Thanks for watching. If you learned something new today, consider leaving a like, comment, and share this story. And remember, history isn't just about the past. It's about what we do with it in our present day.